everyone, so we are currently in Zurich in Switzerland, and we are getting to know the new 2018 Mercedes-Benz S Class. Now, it's not a completely new model, it's actually an updated or refreshed version of the S Class, but according to Mercedes, there's over 6,500 new components to it, so definitely a model that's been improved. What hasn't changed really is the exterior design as well as the interior. There are some tweaks, but it's generally the same as what we find in last year's S Class. What has changed is that there is now an even more ridiculous amount of features and advanced driving systems and comfort features as well. So obviously the S Class being Mercedes' flagship model, they want to put their very best foot forward when it comes to technology, and they certainly have done that with this car. Now, you could argue that some of the features that you find in the S Class are a little bit fluffy, but you know what? It will impress your neighbors, and for a lot of people, that's the most important thing with a car like the S Class. So you have features like variant or different ambiance settings for your S Class. So that means that you can program the car according to certain feelings that you may have. So if you want to feel happy, there's a setting that will adjust the climate controls and the seat heating or ventilation, or the music as well, to up your mood. There's also a system that will refresh, and it's completely insane. It just shoots air right at you, and it turns on the ventilated seats as well. So fairly ridiculous, but again, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that the S Class has the very best when it comes to what Mercedes can offer in terms of, shall we say, exclusive features. There's also a wide range of safety and driver assistance technologies. So this is a car that will brake on its own, it will turn on its own, it will also avoid collisions, it will avoid pedestrians, it will brake for pedestrians. If you put on your flasher, it will change lanes for you without you having to do it. So whatever you think a car can possibly do at this point, the Mercedes-Benz S Class can do it. So there's that, and then there's also 3 new engines for Canada. There's a wide range of engines for Europe, but there's going to be 3 for Canada at launch, shall we say. The first one is the entry level. It's a inline 6-cylinder engine, makes 367 horsepower. That will be available in the Mercedes-Benz S450, which starts at $106,000 in Canada. We will also have, for the Canadian market, the S560, which is powered by a twin-turbo 4-liter, twin-turbo V8 engine, and that will bring out 469 horsepower. And then we have the car that we're driving now, and that is the S63, which is as crazy as last year's S63, but even more so now that it has a new 4-liter twin-turbo V8. And that's 612 horsepower, good enough to get you to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.5 seconds. So fairly impressive there. And of course, the S65, the monstrous S65, will also be available after the launch of the first 3 models we just talked about, and that makes 630 horsepower and 250,000 plus price tag. And there's also going to be a Maybach version if that's what you're into. So some changes under the hood, a lot of changes technology-wise. From a driving standpoint, the car still feels like last year's S Class. That means it's very comfortable, very refined, but also very powerful as well. So it's a kind of car that you can sort of just drive down the road and forget about life for a second. But it's also, sorry, I just have to concentrate here, I'm in the wrong lane. Everything's good now. So very refined, very comfortable, but also the performance is there. When it comes to this model, the S63, I haven't had too much time behind the wheel. I just got behind the wheel. I can tell you, sound-wise, obviously very aggressive in a way that AMG models tend to be. And also when we're talking about performance, definitely it's up there with some of the fastest cars in the world. Also very comfortable. Refinement is up there as well. So there's definitely, if you're a current S-Class owner, what you'll like about the new model, the 2018 model, is that there's a lot more tech and a lot more features. And if you're hesitating to become an S-Class owner, what you will find about the car is that it's just a very nice balance between performance and comfort. And when it comes to criticism, well, obviously the more gadgets you add, the more tech you add, the more questions may come up about reliability, although we can't talk about that right now because we'll need years of data to make an assessment on that. A lot of stuff going on in the car. There's a lot of menus, there's a lot of buttons, there's a lot of things with the infotainment system that you need to figure out, so that'll take you a little bit of time. But aside from that, this is a very difficult car to criticize, and when you compare it to an A8 or a 7 Series, it certainly just feels more advanced and just seems to take the very best of those two models and combine everything together. So the S-Class was already a bestseller. The 2018 model should have no trouble following suit.